Hello, everybody. Normally, this is the point in which you'd be hearing a little jingle and a welcoming to the weekly set, but this is not the weekly set. This is a Comic-Con special podcast. We are still going to be doing our regular weekly set this Thursday. So if this shows up early and you're wondering why is it there, it's not Thursday yet, well, this is our Comic-Con coverage. So, we picked out a few gems from the rough to talk about, some good, some bad, some just interesting. So let's kick it off with Ascendant. Well, actually, before we do that, I should really introduce ourselves there. So, I am the host of the show. As always, I am Tyson, the editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. And joining me today are, as he always does, our resident keeper of comics, Will Reverett.
Hello.
Now you're the keeper of Comic-Con.
Keeper of Comic-Con.
Or keeper of Comic-Con!
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, so let's kick things off with Ascendant. Now, this is something that I think Will and I have, literally no interest in, either of us, in the show or the movie or whatever, but it's just an interesting story. So, this was originally going to be part of the Divergent movie series, and there is a theatrical release for the last film was planned, they had a director signed on, everything was going forward, and then suddenly they announced right before Comic-Con that the theatrical release was canceled, there's going to be a TV movie instead, and then there's going to be a TV spin-off series, seeming to surprise the cast. Who were like, what?
Well, yeah, because surprise, the last movie bombed. Like the movie did not make enough money for Lionsgate, I believe, is the distributor of these films. Who knows? It's not like I follow this closely. It's like, but basically, it bombed to the point where, it was in doubt if they were even going to complete the series, or if they were just going to say, let's just cut our losses here, and then we get no more. But no, they're going to complete it as a TV movie, which is better than, the alternative of them not making any more, I guess, which was on the table.
But on top of that, they're going to do a spin-off series? This is just kind of like, really? I mean, it's a failed property. I understand, going, well, let's just give the fans the ending they want to see. That's fine and all, but then you're going to create a spin-off?
Somebody, I don't know. I guess somebody thought maybe it would be successful as maybe it'd be successful as a TV series. Who knows?
They saw those Game of Thrones numbers and they're like, we want in.
Yeah, we want.
I don't think you're gonna get those Game of Thrones numbers. I'm sorry, but
not with this boring ass snooze fest of a story. Holy cow!
It's again turning TV into the junkyard of failed movie projects.
I watched this last movie. Okay, to be fair, the last Divergent movie that came out is literally the only Divergent movie I ever seen in my life. And so people oh, you don't get it because you didn't see the first two. No, I got it. It was all stupid. Half of it didn't make any sense. The other half was, and the stuff that did make sense was Snoozeville. Forget it. It was the most boring 2 hours I ever spent in a movie theater. No, thank you.
So you're not going to watch the TV movie and spin-off series?
No, I don't think so. Unless it does something really blow me away or something.
So let's move on to greener pastures and talk about a series that they just dumped a whole load of information and just dumped it all out there. Star Trek.
Oh God, I can't believe, wow, that info dump. Oof, this is going to be the best Star Trek series ever. I mean, Brian Fuller really, wow, I can't believe he brought that one character back. It was such a minor appearance in the second season of the original Star Trek. I think most people forgot about it, but man, Brian Fuller, make him the captain of the new, no, I don't.
Will's joking, of course, here. So it's, the only information we got from Star Trek is we got the subtitle for the series finally, which is Discovery. Discovery is also the name of the ship, and we got to see the ship, and that was about it.
And there has been tons of speculation over the ship's design, what that means. Some people speculate it looks kind of like a hybrid Federation Klingon ship. I don't know about that, but whatever. But yeah, no information really.
Yeah.
For me, that was literally the dumbest teaser ever, because it was like, I was like, oh wow, a ship in Star Trek. Who would have thought?
Well, one thing that they did release right before Comic-Con, was it came out that, Netflix is going to stream the series in 188 countries 24 hours after the original episodes air on CBS All Access, pretty much everywhere around the globe, excluding the US and Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, it's streaming on CBS All Access. I want deets. I want actual deets. I know this thing is a thing. I mean, it's nice to have a title. It's nice, I guess, to know, like, the ship, even though, like, they could be flying, like, the USS, like, Poop Fart, and I wouldn't care. But
I wouldn't care. I'd prefer.
I'd prefer.
These are the voyages of the USS Poop Fart.
I mean, that's nice. It's nice to have that stuff, but like actual details, like what era is this set in? Is this set in movie continuity, or are we continuing from TV continuity of previous series? You know, who's the crew? Who's the captain? What is the dealio?
I know Brian Fuller said before that he's casting the movie gender and race blind. So he's just basically like creating very kind of like generic character archetypes to start with, and then casting based on those. And that way he's not limiting himself on the race or gender of any character.
Well, that's nice, but I need to know like who these characters are ASAP. And also,
the problem with that is if he hasn't cast yet, then anything he gives us is going to be like nothing.
Oh my
This
God.
character is happy. This character is sad.
Just cast Mads Mikkelsen and Walton Goggins
In every role.
in every role.
Speaking of details, Game of Thrones.
That's even worse. They don't have nothing. They haven't started filming. There's nothing.
Yeah, we did get one piece of news which came out. This is, long rumored, all the worst kept secret in TV. Finally confirmed though, which is that the next season is going to only be 7 episodes long, and the series will not debut until summer. Because their entire production schedule is delayed so that they can film in more of a winter climate. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, we got to see some of the production work going on, and a scene that implied that the first script is done. That's about it. Yeah. So nothing really else came out of that. They had a blooper reel. They had the characters there, the actors there just to kind of give insight into what they think their characters were doing and stuff, but without any information themselves, really.
Yeah.
So basically just their thoughts on their characters' trajectory.
So basically, we are coming up to the end of this series.
2 seasons left, 7 episodes for this season. They still haven't confirmed how many episodes in the last season, but the same rumor that said it was 7 episodes for this season said 6 for the final season.
Yeah, which makes sense. So and it makes sense because it looks like stuff is wrapping up, storylines are converging. There's not many places where
Essos is pretty much completely unnecessary now.
Yeah.
There's an entire continent that's been there since season 1, which is no longer necessary to the story.
Yeah. So yeah, there's the entire it's no longer necessary to the story. There's plot lines are converging, there's not much room for things to go at this point. Unless they just start creating new plot lines wholesale from new characters, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, they're actually, cutting plot lines down and stuff from the books, but they are still talking about a possible spin-off series.
Dunkin' Egg.
Dunkin' Egg seems to be the most likely. There's also, the other ones that are kind of being thrown around are like the Doom of Valeria, which is like a big one. That's like, the society that the Targaryens came from and how it just kind of fell into rubble. We saw the runes of Valeria, last season, I believe. And so the doom of Valeria would take place way long ago and follow that story. But then there's also Robert's Rebellion, which I know a lot of people think would be great to see. I don't, just because like those really close prequels that take place directly before something, just, they don't have any balls to them, you know, because they're, what can you do? Like, we already know everything that happens to these characters.
Yeah, we know how Robert's Rebellion turns out. We know the story behind Robert's Rebellion. We know the entire story.
Yeah.
Like, anybody who pays attention knows the entire story behind that. I mean, I know the story. I can recite to you what happens. I guess, you know, seeing it in action would be cool, but it wouldn't come off as little more than a novelty.
I think we can see it through Brand's eyes, through Visions in the next 2 seasons, you know? Because I'm sure there's some important things in there that they still want to show us, but we don't need a whole series for that. You know, they could just do, you know, Bran has a vision, and it's like, oh, here's something cool that happened, you know? That's all we need. We don't need a whole series for that. Duncan Egg is the one that seems like the most likely and the best kind of option for that. But moving on from Game of Thrones, I'm going to talk a little bit about Walking Dead. I'm going to mention it very briefly because Will isn't caught up on Walking Dead, and he does want to catch up, so I don't want to spoil it for him. So I'm going to talk in a little bit of generalities, and then I'm going to talk mostly about a character that was shown in the trailer that is not even in the series yet, so it's not really a spoiler because it's not related to any character we've seen, you know? But, well, first off, The Walking Dead ended last season with a big cliffhanger, so that meant that they were very, they're very tight in what they're able to show. There's a lot they weren't able to show because, well, you show something, then it will lead people to go, oh, well, I guess that's what happened, or whatever. So they had to kind of really focus on peripheral kind of characters for the trailer. And there's a lot that's been going on in the past season. We found out that there's all these other communities of survivors, and they're kind of like honed in on them for this teaser because they can't show any of the other characters because it could reveal the cliffhanger. Spoiler. So they have to like hide everything. So they're focusing on these peripheral characters. The one thing I saw that was so awesome in this trailer that made me like excited was there's a character apparently named King Ezekiel, who has a pet tiger.
Wow. Okay.
Handy tool for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, a pet tiger who's gonna get eaten in like a hot minute. But anyway.
Well, we see him sitting with the tiger in like the trailer. Pretty huge tiger. It was a pretty cool shot. It's that kind of fantastical moment. So I know you've seen far enough in The Walking Dead where you've seen like Michonne, for example, and the governor and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I seen like I said, I think I pretty much ended it on what season are we on now? Season 7?
I think this is season 7 or 8. I'm not sure. I think this is 7.
So I think I watched up to like the beginning of season 5.
Okay. So yeah, what I was going to bring up with like saying Michonne and the governor and stuff is that The Walking Dead was very grounded, but the thing that kind of broke that grounding a bit was when they brought on like Michonne and the governor, who were very much more like comic book characters, you know? Yeah,
well, they are they were lifted from the comic book.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like they're very much like, you know, they're not grounded characters.
Yeah, they're not grounded characters. Yeah, that was interesting. I was wondering how they would handle those characters. I think the show tried to make them more grounded than they were.
But how are you gonna make King Ezekiel and his pet tiger grounded?
Robert Kirkman, man, he does not give a fuck writing that comic book. He I don't think there's any part of his brain that says need to make this grounded, but then but then that conflicts with the showrunners who try painfully hard to make this show like as grounded as possible, but then they're working for material with a creator who just does not give a shit about that.
Well, they could have skipped the tiger if they wanted to, but they didn't. So it shows they're kind of embracing a little bit of the craziness.
I think they're starting to embrace the craziness. Also, Robert Kirkman from the beginning has a tremendous amount of input into the show.
Oh yeah, he's in the writer's room with them.
Yeah, he's in the writer's room.
He's deeply involved. It's kind of similar to how George R. R. Martin was with Game of Thrones. He really isn't anymore, but he used to be. I think for the first 3 seasons, he wrote an episode every season.
Yeah, he was writing an episode every season, and then at some point he realized, oh shit, I have books I need to be writing.
I think his fans were like tapping their foot very loudly near him.
yeah.
It was a deafening foot tap. So yeah, that's Walking Dead. That's all I really wanted to mention about that. Next up, still kind of in line with not seeing too terribly much, The Magicians. Now, this was a show that Will and I watched from beginning to end, each episode, and talked about it on the weekly set. We both loved the series. We're both really hooked into it. It ended with like a huge, like, what the fuck cliffhanger kind of moment. They were able to show the first scene of the
opening of season 2,
showing the direct aftermath of that, but without giving away any of the results of that.
Yeah, it does.
Which is pretty clever of them. It was basically, it picks up with Quentin running through the woods in Fillory, desperately screaming out for help.
Yeah.
So, he's looking to try to save his friends, and, he ends up stumbling on a cottage with, like, candy sticking out of the ground.
Yeah, very, very Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, and a woman comes out of the cottage and is, like, offering to welcome him in, and he's like, we have this story where I come from.
Yeah. She claims to be a healer, which just happens to be exactly what he needs at this point, because his friends are like pretty badly damaged and are all dying. So she claims to be a healer, and then she asks for a price, and he doesn't have like any gold or any money, so he tries to haggle with her. He's like, well, what about, I'm the future king of Fillory,
Oh no, he was talking about Elliot, because Elliot's the king of Fillory now.
Yeah, he's like, you'll be helping out the future king of Fillory. And she's like, oh, I guess, well, in that case, I guess I could give a slight discount. She's not really budging.
The price, though, goes from, gold to blood.
Yeah, to like a vial of his blood, which seems more reasonable to Elliot, because that's something he actually has and can give.
And it seems terrifying to anybody who's followed the show.
Yeah, it seems terrifying to anybody who's followed the show. Like, even when confronted with that offer, Elliot is very hesitant, but he quickly realizes he has no choice but to go along with it. And that's where that scene ends, with him like resigning to go along with this. And then it ends right there, so you're kind of left wondering, so it's pretty clever, because now you're left wondering what happens next. Who is this woman? Can she be trusted? Is she just gonna fuck him over? What's gonna happen? I don't know.
I think it's kind of cool because they didn't show a trailer. They showed this instead, which makes perfect sense because it ended on such like a cliffhanger event at the end of it. And so how do you pick up from there? Well, you show a scene that references that this happened, takes the one character that's unharmed and focuses it on him in a panic elsewhere, trying to find a way to resolve the situation. It doesn't tell us, for all we know, they could all be dead and he's just panicking and thinks he can still save them somehow. There could be 1 or 2 that are dead, others that are alive. We have no idea.
We don't know what's going on.
So they were able to keep the cliffhanger intact while showing us an entire scene.
Well, yep, that's pretty clever. Yeah. And it's very clever how, there's this scene doesn't tell us anything. Except for that, it literally doesn't tell us anything.
It just introduces a new character.
Introduces like a potential solution to what happened at the end of last season. But you know, it introduces more questions too. Like, now who the fuck is this? Is this person trustworthy? What's gonna happen to Quentin if he goes along with this?
Personally, I don't trust anybody that asks for my blood.
No, I don't trust anybody I'll trust anybody in a place called Fillory with like fucking lollipops growing out of their freaking yard.
So that was The Magicians. Now we're going to move on to stuff that got a little bit more to talk about. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. This is based on the books by Douglas Adams. This iteration of the series, it's been adapted before, but this iteration is done by Max Landis, who wrote Chronicle. And it stars Samuel Barnett from Penny Dreadful and Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, this looks like it's gonna be fun. Dirk Gently is by Douglas Adams. He wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, series, and he also wrote these books. Which Dirk Gently, I guess it kind of defies explanation, really. It's not these are not simple whodunit stories. These are like, Dirk Gently deals with mysteries that span the entire strata of time, space, and like, it gets like really, really meta, you know, like, they're metaphysical mysteries.
It'll be interesting to see how that's presented as a series, because you mentioned that the trailer didn't even like resemble anything you remember from the book.
No. Which was interesting. I mean, it's been a while since I read it. A lot of it was, quite frankly, as amusing as it was, a lot of it was also like very, very confusing. If you want to pick up a book and just get like really confused, pick up Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, because by the very nature of the story being told, you will get super confused super fast. Like there's a robot in that book at some point.
I'm not surprised. There was a robot very central in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see how that's adapted. Like I said, I didn't see. I was kind of disappointed with like the trailer for this, because it kind of just showed Elijah Wood, and kind of presented this as like just like a quirky like murder mystery thing, when really it's like, it's a little bit more than just like some guy being eccentric and quirky. Come on.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Like it felt kind of like a goofier, like more genre definable Sherlock.
Yeah, I really hope that's not what this ends up being, because that's not what the source material is. So like,
thankfully Max Landis is a pretty competent writer, so I have hopes that he's kind of taken the right direction with this. Cause we don't need another Sherlock Holmes rip.
No, we don't. We definitely don't.
There's a ton of those. But yeah, let's move on from that. Let's talk about Legion. So Legion is a series that came to being with the cooperation between Fox networks, or not networks because it's on FX, but Fox, the studio, who owns the rights to X-Men and basically anything related to mutants.
Well, the film rights.
Yes. And Marvel, who retains the TV rights to that, but also has, of course, they're connected with they kind of had this almost adversarial relationship ever since they sold the properties to Fox. But this was kind of made in cooperation with the two.
Oh, it had, so basically how this came about is Fox, looking at the success of their films, their X-Men films, really, really wanted to, really want to branch that franchise out into television. Of course, their lawyers looked at it and realized, we don't actually own any television rights for this property, Marvel does, so we actually have to get permission from Marvel to do this. And so they went with their hat to Marvel, with their hat in the hand, saying, please, Mr. Marvel, can you grant us the rights to make these shows?
Unfortunately, it seems like
You
Marvel
know.
didn't really use the opportunity to their advantage.
Yeah.
If I was Marvel at that point, that would be a great opportunity to get back Fantastic Four. Because this negotiation was happening like right basically on the eve of the newest Fantastic Four movie flopping horribly.
Yeah, Marvel.
So you think this would be a prime opportunity for Marvel to just snag back those rights?
Yeah,
And
Marvel.
be like, okay, we'll do that, but we want all of the Fantastic Four stuff back.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, Marvel didn't ask for like any rights or anything. I guess they just have like a revenue sharing stake in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Marvel Television Studios is producing this, but almost by necessity, the actual people handling this show and the creation of the show is the team at Fox.
And the series itself is being run by Noah Hawley, who does the Fargo TV series, which is an excellent show.
Yeah, excellent. And this
great hands to put this in.
Great hands to put this in, and from the trailer, it freaking shows. This is the one trailer I saw out of like all the trailers I watch for any show. That just flat out impressed me so much to say, yeah, this is going to be must-watch TV.
Definitely.
This is such an interesting concept within the X-Men universe. I don't know too much about the character of Legion.
In the comics, he's Professor X's son, but that's not necessarily going to be the direction they're going for. They're talking about how it kind of doesn't connect to the rest of the universe.
Oh, really? So, like, this isn't in continuity with the films or anything?
I'm guessing not, but they did say he might be the most powerful mutant we've encountered, which makes it sound like it is.
So basically, Legion is a very powerful mutant. He has a dissociative identity disorder, so he has multiple identities, but but what makes it interesting is he has multiple identities, but each identity has their own superpowers. Mm-hmm. So he commands many different abilities.
Hence the name Legion.
Hence the name Legion. Yeah, hence the name Legion. So basically the idea is he's crazy. Like, he's legit crazy. But he's also possibly one of the most powerful mutants.
I believe in the comics he's considered an Omega level, which is like, right up there with like, Jean Grey when she's got her Phoenix powers and, it's like way, way up there.
So I love what the show's doing with that already. Where he's like in this mental institution or something, he's being interviewed by this doctor. He thinks he's just crazy, and he thinks he's just crazy, but then it turns out, like, as you watch the trailer, it becomes clear that the doctor knows what he is, knows what his potential is, and is not there to diagnose him so much as to maybe
keep him under thumb, I guess.
Keep him under thumb, keep him under control, maybe use him for some kind of nefarious purpose or some kind of purpose. We don't know if this guy is nefarious or not from the trailer.
Like the trailer, it looked like less like they had evil intentions for him and more like they were just terrified and trying to find a way to keep him.
And trying to find a way
in control.
Control. Yeah, maybe. That was interesting. There's also this girl in the trailer. Don't know much about her except she has some kind of ability. He remarks that they ask where the girl went, and like he remarks that she took his place and he took her place. Still not much information like to go on here, but it just looks incredible.
Yeah. I should mention Dan Stevens from Downton Abbey is playing the titular character. Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Recreation is in it as well.
Yes.
So, that's Legion. Looks very good. Excited for it. It's something that, like, I knew was coming, and I was excited about it, mostly because of Noah Hawley being involved. And when I was gearing up for Comic-Con, it wasn't on my radar at all. Just because there's no information had come out for it yet. It was exciting to see. It was a really cool trailer. Noah Hawley again kind of showing that he's a showrunner worth looking at. And, yeah, FX killing it with another great looking show.
Yep.
Next up, we have American Gods. Now, you say Legion was the trailer that got you. Well, American Gods was the one that got me. So this is Brian Fuller.
Probably more Legion because, like, I had expectations for American Gods. I didn't know what to expect from Legion.
That's true as well. Yeah. American Gods is from Brian Fuller, showrunner of Hannibal, Pushing Daisies, Dead Like Me, Wonder Falls. Pretty much has never had a bad show. So that's kind of what we talk about having expectations. Well, because Brian Fuller's never had a bad show. So whatever he does, we expect great things from. And coming off of Hannibal, we're expecting spectacular, like mind-blowing things from. But the trailer, to me, it really delivered.
Oh yeah, definitely. For real. Oh man. This looks so good. Just gonna have to keep a Star subscription for this show.
I think, if nothing else, what really excited me about this was just, we knew about the spectacular cast that was in this show. The casting announcements have been coming out, like there's been a steady stream of them, right from like the beginning with like Ian McShane, which we were like, oh my god, Ian McShane, and then, other ones started coming out, but just seeing some of these actors in the trailer, it just like the reality of it sinks in. Like, this is real. This is actually happening.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting. Just like seeing, Crispin Glover standing in a doorway. It was like, oh man, Crispin Glover's in a TV series. He's going to face off against Ian McShane. That's insane. That's
gonna be insane. Ian McShane's going to win. That's going to be insane. Yeah, seeing Ian McShane in this trailer was awesome.
Yeah. Who else was I thinking about? Peter Stormare. Who kind of a lot of people know from various things. Fans of Prison Break might remember him from the first season of that. Fans of the Constantine movie would remember him as the devil at the end. Or fans of commercials might remember him as the Oh Snap guy from the Volkswagen commercial.
Oh yeah, the Oh Snap guy, yeah.
Seeing him holding like a bloody hammer in the rain.
Jesus. What a
Cloris Leachman's in it. And then they made another announcement, which is that Kristen Chenoweth is going to be in the series as Easter, the goddess Easter. So, Kristen Chenoweth has worked with Fuller before. She was in Pushing Daisies.
Yep, she was in Pushing Daisies, yep.
So, she's very, elfish, like, actress. Very tiny, small, petite blonde, cute little actress that, is also a major performer, does a lot of stuff in Broadway. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what her role is going to be in American Gods. I know in Pushing Daisies, there were like all sorts of musical moments where she just couldn't keep the music in her anymore and just broke out into song and dance numbers. That was like really funny. I kind of wonder where they're going to go with her with American Gods, because that tends to be the kind of character she plays. She tends to play like these larger than life kind of characters that usually have like singing roles at some point. So it'll be interesting to see where she fits in with it. But she's a Brian Fuller alum, which is, we expect to see some Brian Fuller alum show up in the show. I'm still waiting for Mads Mikkelsen and Hugh Dancy to show up in it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, American Gods trailer confirmed my hype for it. I'm so excited for it. That's coming up. We finally got the logo for the show, like with the way the text looks, and we got a poster for it. We got the trailer. It's awesome. We finally kind of are seeing the kind of visual style of it. So it's really cool. Next up is Ash vs. Evil Dead. Now, this series we got last year, so this is for the second season. The casting for this season has been mind-blowing. So first off, Ted Raimi showing up. Nobody kind of expected him not to show up. It's a Sam Raimi project starring Bruce Campbell. Of course, Ted Raimi's going to show up.
Ted Raimi in a Sam Raimi project? No way.
Of course he was going to show up, but when you see him in the trailer with his bleached blonde hair and just kind of like aging bro. character. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Then you have Lee Majors, which is like inspired casting,
Yeah,
playing
Lee
Bruce
Majors.
Campbell's dad or Ash's dad.
Yeah, playing Ash's dad. That's inspired casting.
We got about
Because like the
seconds
plot,
of him in the trailer.
I guess the plot is Bruce Campbell Ash has to go home, to his hometown. There's like a lot. I like how like the beginning, he's in Florida at like this massive kegger or something, having the time of his life, surrounded by women, pretty much Ash is like,
he's like the god of Jacksonville.
The god of Jacksonville, he's in his like freaking glory. And then this freaking like, this deadite thing like rears its ugly head again at possibly the worst moment for him. And he's like, oh shit. Time to end this once and for all. And all the good stuff that you expect from Evil Dead ensues. What ensues from a trailer is horrible monsters, blood, gore, Ash's typical charm.
One-liners, yeah.
There's one-liners. There's a moment where like he chops off this deadite's head and it cuts the head on the floor, and she says, you'll die like the rest of them. And then Ash just says, ladies first, and shoots.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Such a chivalrous man.
Yes.
Besides the trailer, two other big pieces of information came out about the series, or about season 2 in their panel. One is that they said they now have the rights to talk about Army of Darkness.
Yes!
So
yes!
Before they could talk, they were able to show clips from Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and talk about kind of the events of those two movies, but they weren't able to address Army of Darkness all. So there was no explanation with Ash saying, oh yeah, I went to the medieval ages.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't talk about that because that was all outside of their rights. Well, now somehow we don't know exactly what's worked out in the deal. Like, we don't know if they can show footage from Army of Darkness because they cleverly wove in footage from the original Evil Dead into the show.
Yeah.
They did it in a really clever, really cool way. We don't know if they can do that. That hasn't really been disclosed. What they did disclose is that they can and will discuss Army of Darkness, like the events of Army of Darkness in the show. They said this does happen in season 2. It's not just that they can, it's that they did.
Nice, good.
The other big piece of information is that Ellen Sandweiss, who was in the original Evil Dead, is going to have a cameo. Ellen Sandweiss played Ash's sister in the original Evil Dead, and
nice.
She's going to be reprising that role despite
her
character being dead.
Oh yeah, it makes sense with the whole Ash going back home, conceit of the season.
Her meeting his dad.
And you mentioned she's dead, but that doesn't mean like she can't reappear. Like maybe a deadite is just fucking with Ash using like his sister to get to him or something, That could be like that type of thing.
What's going to be interesting though is, she's aged, and I don't mean that as like an insult to her in particular, because I haven't even seen what she looks like recently, but the original Evil Dead came out in 1982.
Yeah.
So we're talking, this is like 34 years ago.
Yeah, like a year after I was born, basically. So this is practically as old as me now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So this is like 34 years of aging has taken place. So it's not like they can have a flashback to the old, Ellen Sandweiss when she was very young, playing Ash's sister to kind of taunt him or something. No, this is like if Ash's sister never died. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays into the story. Like, it could be like a real kind of gotcha moment. Like, she just kind of shows up and gives her dad a hug, and Ash is like, wait, what the fuck? Like, you're dead. What the fuck? But we don't know. We have no idea on that. I'm so psyched for this. It's coming pretty soon. It's coming, I believe, at the end of September. So I'm so excited for Ash vs. Evil Dead season 2. Inspired casting, and now they got the rights to talk about Army of Darkness and Ellen Sandweiss making it. It's just all greatness.
Yep, pretty much.
Now let's talk about Legends of Tomorrow. So, we're not going to talk about Flash or Arrow. There wasn't too terribly much interesting going on at either of those panels. Supergirl, I don't even think they put out a trailer for. At least I wasn't able to find one.
I don't think they put out any trailer for Supergirl, or like, I haven't heard any like major news about Supergirl or what they're doing with that, so.
The big stuff all came from Legends of Tomorrow. And there's a lot of information that came out of this. They also announced
that Katie Cassidy, who, spoiler alert, was killed last season on Arrow, has a similar deal as Wentworth Miller, where she is now signed on to appear in all of the Arrowverse shows.
She's a series regular of the Arrowverse rather than of a specific show. And this is like a new thing that they've been doing, because it's not just Wentworth Miller. They also did the same thing with John Barrowman's Malcolm Merlyn.
Yeah.
Is also signed on as a series regular for the Arrowverse rather than just for Arrow.
Yeah, rather than just for Arrow.
So it's interesting. It's actually kind of a smart direction. Hopefully this kind of takes away some of the crap that's happening in Arrow.
I know, hopefully.
Maybe it'll be for the worse. Maybe it'll just distribute that crap through the rest of the shows. I don't know. And that crap has a first name. It's Felicity.
You're right. Hopefully they don't make her a series regular for the Arrowverse, because then I might have to just quit the whole thing.
Well, one thing I can say that looked positive is the Arrow trailer had very little footage of her in it. She was there, but not much. So, I think they're kind of luring us into a false sense of security, and then the next trailer will come out and it'll be like, all Felicity.
Yeah. Maybe the Legion of Doom really is just a bunch of Felicities.
So, yeah, here's the information that came out about Legends of Tomorrow. First off, Stephen Amell is going to appear in the the first episode of the season premiere, as Oliver Queen. We don't really know in what capacity, but he's going to be there. This will be his second appearance actually not his second appearance. He was in quite a few appearances.
He was
Legends of Tomorrow.
No, he was in that one episode, Legend of Tomorrow, where they went to the future or something.
But he had a few smaller parts too, where like Ray was talking to him and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I think he showed up in like 3 episodes. I think he was in the first episode, the pilot. I think like they had a part with him talking to it, and then they did it again when they had the episode where everybody was going back to their lives for a little bit. So he's going to show up in the season premiere. They also revealed that Jonah Hex is going to show up again, which is awesome because he was perhaps the best part of the whole show last season. But the big news is that they announced that this season is JSA versus Legion of Doom. So we knew JSA was involved because Our Man showed up in the season finale last year.
Yep, Our Man showed up, yep.
But now they've revealed that he'll be joined by Stargirl, Obsidian, and Dr. Midnight.
Well, good.
That's members of the JSA. They didn't say that was all of the JSA, but they said that those ones are going to show up.
Those are like the members of JSA who aren't like freaking Flash and Green Lantern. which I mean, they already have Jay Garrick the Flash on the Flash, revealed at the end of the season to be the doppelganger of like Barry's actual dad.
See, he'll come out. What they're going to do is they're going to have that actor. What's it? John something Ship, I think.
John Wesley Ship. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be the next Arrowverse regular.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, JSA.
Well, I mean, if they're doing the JSA, it would be super cool to have him like actually be a part of the team, since they have him, they have that character. Jay Garrick is one of the most prominent members of the JSA.
Mm-hmm. So they also announced the Legion of Doom, and they announced 4 members of Legion of Doom. All characters we've already seen.
Gorilla Grodd?
No.
Damn it.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe in like 1 episode because of the effects budget.
Yeah, that's true.
Malcolm Merlyn.
Oh, Malcolm Merlyn is a member of Legion of Doom, huh?
Who we know, like as we mentioned before, he's signed on as the Arrowverse regular. Damien Dark.
Oh, Damien Dark. Okay, yeah, I saw him in the trailer. Like, White Canary was fighting him, trying to get vengeance for his sister's death.
Yeah. So he's going to show up. the Reverse Flash.
Oh, Reverse Flash is
Eobard Thawne version, so.
Nice. He's a member of Legion, so he's going to be in Legends of Tomorrow too?
Yep.
Nice.
And Captain Cold.
What?
Yeah,
What?
that's the big kind of like, what?
What the fuck? After he sacrificed himself, like, heroically for the team, he's now going to be an adversary of the team?
Hey, the show gets all timey-wimey. We're going to get maybe a previous version of him or something.
Yeah, we're going to get, like, a previous.
And then you have, of course, all the alternate realities. I mean, there's so many different directions.
There's so many different, yeah.
Maybe he's like a mole. Maybe he's like, joins them and then like kind of starts destroying them from the inside, or I don't know. But, we know that the present him, the one that's kind of changed and become a hero, is dead. So this could be like the more villainous him that hasn't had any of this change occur in him is now that, or could be from an alternate history. I mean, Flash fucked up everything, so who knows? But yeah, we'll have to see how he plays into it. But yeah, we got JSA versus Legion of Doom, so that's the most exciting thing happening for the Arrowverse.
Yeah, pretty much.
Flash, they can't show. I think Flash might end up being the more exciting show next season, but they can't reveal too much.
Like they were like they showed like the Flash trailer. If you watched it, they showed like some of like the results of like the Flashpoint. Cisco owns Star Labs. He's like apparently the richest man in the world or something.
He's like a total like .com billionaire.
He's a total .com billionaire. You know, Joe and Iris don't know who Barry is because Barry was not adopted by Joe. Although I don't buy like Joe, like if Barry saved his mom, like I don't buy that Joe wouldn't know who Barry is because Joe was like Barry's dad was like his partner, or he was Barry's dad's partner or some shit. So like
they were like friends at least.
Yeah, they were friends, something. So it'd be like friends of the family. He would fucking know who the hell Barry Allen is because he's friends with his dad.
I heard that they're supposed to be supposedly estranged though, like that Joe and Iris are estranged.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
In this version. So there's that going on. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. We also know from previously, I don't think we saw him in the trailer, but Tom Felton is going to be Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter is going to be in the series.
Oh, I thought so. Oh, wow, they're introducing Draco Malfoy? Big Harry Potter, like, crossover happening?
Yeah,
I guess,
Cisco's waiting for it.
Well, you know, that's what happens when you fuck with the timeline. You get, like, people from different realities. No.
Tom Felton's going to be playing a character that everyone seems to think is going to be Dr. Alchemy. And then in the trailer, lo and behold, we saw some graffiti that said Alchemy. So that could be a swerve because, you know, Flash has done that a few times, leading you to believe something is one thing and then finding out it's something else. Perfect example of that was Jay Garrett in Zoom last year. And finding out that the actual Jay Garrett was actually Henry Allen. So yeah, there's lots of different kind of directions they can take with that. I think they're limited in how much they can show or talk about even, because Legends of Tomorrow can kind of iron out like what like the whole course of their season is. Like, this is our new adversary, this is where we're going. Where Flashpoint feels like it's like the start of where things are going to go in this season.
Well, you know,
I don't think they can reveal too much.
Grant Gustin said in an interview, he said, "Oh, Flashpoint doesn't last beyond like a few episodes anyway."
Yeah,
like,
and that's exactly it. Like, I think because of that, there's not too terribly much they can show.
Yeah,
because they're probably only showing us stuff related to Flashpoint and only talking about stuff related to Flashpoint.
Yeah,
and we don't really know what happens beyond that or what causes Barry Allen to finally go, okay, yeah, this is fucked up. I have to change this. You know, so they don't want to show that information. It's going to be like a big moment. So they just can't really reveal too much. And Arrow after last season just didn't really excite us.
No, Arrow didn't. They're doing Prometheus for like the next season of Arrow, and Prometheus is like a really cool villain. Grant Morrison created that character as like the idea was to be like sort of like the anti-Batman. Mm-hmm. You know, so he, in theory, he was like a really cool character, probably cool when like Grant Morrison was writing him. But I'm like, but this show is such a shit.
This time he'll be played by Felicity.
Yeah, I know he'll be played by Felicity. I'm like, I can't watch this.
Date her.
As badly as, you know, like Damien Dark became became a joke towards the end of Arrow season 4. I thought Ra's al Ghul, who's another legit good villain, was mishandled in season 3. I'm pretty sure
that was the thing, is like Ra's al Ghul was actually really cool in the first half of season 3.
Yeah, he is. And then
in
the second half, he like dresses up in an Arrow suit and like does a bunch of goofy shit.
Yeah, it was really dumb. Yeah, I don't know with Arrow. There's nothing that's really exciting me too much, on that front. I'll check it out. I know, I don't think you are, at least not at first, probably, right?
You know what? Last season pissed me off so badly, especially that ending there where they just like rubbed Felicity in everybody's faces for like no reason other than spite for like the people who weren't enjoying her character.
Not a chance.
Yeah, like it that was insulting. It's like everybody up and leaves. Like everybody's demoralized and leaves. Right down to like even Diggle leaves. And then they have Felicity march in there and say, thought I was leaving? Not a chance. It's like they might.
It's like crushing the last hope of the fan base.
Yeah, they might as well had like another screen, like a text screen after that, which said, "Actually, fuck you."
So that's it for the Arrowverse shows. Let's move on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which they kind of just two big points were made on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. One is there's a huge rumor, ended up being completely true, which is that they are doing Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they're not doing the Nicolas Cage version of Ghost Rider. They're doing this, it's a more recent in the comic books version.
It's a guy with a muscle car. So I know nothing.
Yeah,
I know
Roberto Robbie Reyes is the character.
Reyes. I know nothing about this iteration of Ghost Rider. I'm kind of disappointed they're doing Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is something that like needs its own Netflix show, not to be like not to be like a plot point for like 5 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before they move on.
They
to
can
the
still
next
do a
thing.
Netflix show because they're specifically using Reyes and not remember the other character's name.
I just don't know.
I
I just don't know how the character is going to be handled on this show. It seems like such an odd fit for this show. It's like it just seems like such an odd pairing. Like
but that intrigues me though. I'm like, where is this going to go?
And Ghost Rider represents an entire section of the Marvel universe that none of the Marvel properties have even explored. Like that, not even so much as hinted at.
It's like the supernatural side.
You could probably argue that, like Doctor Strange is the first thing to start to even get into that sphere.
Well, it's like the Marvel universe is divided, right? There's there's Powers, which is like, even though he doesn't have like Iron Man, the typical stuff you think of in the Avengers. Then there's like Galactic, which is like, Guardians of the Galaxy. Then you have, Mutants, which is X-Men, which Marvel doesn't have the rights to. Then you have,
Inhumans, which are mutants that Marvel does have the rights to.
and then you have Magic, which we're going to be getting with both Doctor Strange and Iron Fist. Iron Fist is connected to the Magic side too, apparently.
Yeah, and then you have the supernatural sphere,
which is like Blade and Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, and stuff.
Vampires and demons and hell.
And I'm just like it just feels weird to me. They're going to introduce the sphere in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. unless they're going to make him an Inhuman, in which case, fuck you, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm interested to see what they do. Season 3 was great. Season 2 was great. Season 1 took a while to get going and then ended great. So I have confidence that they're going to do something cool, hopefully, with it. That doesn't mean that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has never made mistakes. They have. So maybe they will. I think that it's a good stand that they're using Roberto Reyes instead of the regular Ghost Rider, because the regular Ghost Rider is far more iconic, and that leaves him open for them to do like you said, like a Netflix show with him or something, which could be interesting, seeing how he would fit into like the Defender story. Not right away, but maybe later down the line, like maybe after the Defenders and stuff of, as stuff starts to get a little bit more and more fantastical on that side, you could see somebody like Ghost Rider coming into play. And so I think them using this kind of other iteration of Ghost Rider hints that they're still kind of keeping that version open for another possibility, the more popular motorcycle version. The other thing that came out of the panel, though, was that Inhumans was knocked off of Marvel's slate of upcoming movies.
Yeah, for the time being, because Marvel got the rights to co-produce the Spider-Man movie with Sony, so that they kind of had to make room for that. They also decided they wanted to do a sequel to Ant-Man.
But it seems to be less about a delay and more about, like, now, like...
Well, you want to say, if you take
because Jed Whedon and his wife, who are the showrunners on the show, came out and said that they feel like they have a lot more freedom in relation to the Inhuman storyline than they had before now, which means we might start seeing some of the larger Inhuman characters that were being kind of saved for the movie introduced to the show. Like, they just might not do Inhumans as a movie at all. And that could be great for Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because, you know, I mean, does the MCU really even need, you know, like in the movie side, does it really need Inhumans?
I think it does because they were clearly positioning this as their X-Men, you know.
Yeah. But that was the thing is people were like, do we really need, like, do we need X-Men in this universe? Do we need, like, even their version of X-Men in this universe? It's already big enough, you know? And it's already expanding into other areas with, like, magic with Doctor Strange now, and we're just starting to get, like, the galactic parts that come into the regular fold. So I don't think I would miss Inhumans not being made into a movie and instead having it fully go into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Inhumans is going to be a movie. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be Phase 4. I think we're freaking out over nothing. This is really, really just scheduling conflicts. You know, like, I believe Disney has this little thing called Star Wars coming out at the same time they're supposed to launch Inhumans. That was also a consideration. You know.
Well, there's also rumors that, like Kevin Feige wasn't even interested in Inhumans for the MCU, and that it was more pressure from, another exec at Marvel, and then there was that whole upheaval where Kevin Feige got to the point where he doesn't have to answer.
I know all about this. This is internet garbage bullshit drama until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I get your point on that, but still I could see it based on the comments made by the showrunners. I could see Inhumans being something that's being moved towards TV. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the kind of, like, large ensemble stories like that might work better in TV anyways.
Yeah, they might. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Plus, we need more Inhumans on S.H.I.E.L.D. They were way too sparse with them last season.
They were.
So if they could bring on some of the bigger ones, that would be really cool. We'll have to see what they do with that, though. It's very interesting with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We really, you know, it's a lot of the cast and crew were talking about how it's almost like a whole different show now or something, and it's like, usually that's just kind of PR bullshit talk, but it really does kind of feel like that, you know? Because, I mean, you're talking about Ghost Rider coming in right now. You got Grant Ward, who's been, like, such a central figure in that series, is dead. You got, you know, it's like all these kind of, like, elements. So much has changed that it really does feel like this could be, like, a very different show than it used to be. Which could be bad, or it could be good. We don't know. So we'll have to see where that goes. Sticking with Marvel, let's end out the show by talking about the Defenders. And I'm not just talking about the Defenders series itself, but all of the Marvel Netflix
shows. The Defenders series, of which we know zero about, except that it's going to bring all the Netflix Marvel shows together, similar to the Avengers. They showed a teaser for that, but it was a teaser that, like, it's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Like it was just like,
well, even the line of dialogue that you'd mentioned earlier to me, like, before I saw it, like, oh, there's a line of dialogue that Stick has. If I remember, I think that was actually in Arrow Season 2.
It was in Arrow Season 2? That's
I think it was. I think he said that to...
I didn't know
Arrow, sorry.
Stick wasn't Arrow at all.
No. I think he said that to Daredevil and Elektra.
Damn, Arrowverse is getting bigger.
Man. My epic brain fart. But I believe he said he said that line in Daredevil season 2 to Daredevil and Elektra.
Oh, maybe.
So, if I remember correctly, which just means that, they just don't have anything to show yet. I don't think they've begun filming yet. So, they got nothing to show for it yet. They kind of have their plan for it. They picked out their showrunners for it. They're getting ready for it, but there's just nothing there. I mean, they barely started filming, Iron Fist apparently, but they were able to get some footage together. Which was really cool. I'm excited to see what they do with Iron Fist. That'll be really fun, but you could tell they didn't have much. Like, they were basically showing probably everything they filmed so far. Probably some stuff they filmed just for the trailer as well.
So there's nothing filmed, obviously. So nothing to talk about with the actual Defenders. So basically what there is to talk about is there is Luke Cage, which we saw the most of because that is actually going to be happening really soon.
Much more excited for the show after this trailer too.
Oh God, Luke Cage. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know like what I was expecting. I knew it was going to be awesome based on the pedigree of the shows, but yeah, this looks hype as shit. I mean,
I love Luke Cage's kind of like lazy action style.
Yeah, like
he just
kind of lazy action style.
It's like we talked about that before when we talked about Jessica Jones, and there was like the bar fight scene where he just seemed like annoyed or like vaguely frustrated. Dude
knows he's an invincible badass, and so he does. And so for like most situations, he doesn't have to try or put like any real effort into it.
And it showed in this trailer as well. The same thing. They had like a raid where he went into a building and was cleaning house, and it was awesome. Just because he just seemed he just was like not even trying.
This is like the opposite of Daredevil, where you see like crazy fights or something. Daredevil like really putting his all into it. This is like the opposite, where like he's just walking in, taking bullets, taking hits, kicking doors down, just being a badass. Like it's not a fight scene so much because he's not putting in forth any effort. This is almost like One Punch Man, you know? Yeah.
Very much. It's very one-sided. It's awesome though. There's a cool scene where he ripped a car door off and was using it. I don't know why he needed a shield because he's maybe to protect his clothing.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to protect his clothing from getting ruined or something.
Because he did mention that in the last teaser that he's sick of buying new clothes, so maybe that was
we saw him talking to this guy, probably the villain of the story.
Villain or one of the villains, because I think there seems to be like a few kind of like organized crime figures weaved into the story.
Yeah, weaved into the story. This is definitely one of the organized crime figures. He mentioned, so you're the hero of Harlem or something, right? And then he says, I'm just getting started.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm super hyped for Luke Cage right now. I had a little bit of hype from the last teaser, but not too much. I think most of my hype was just remaining from Jessica Jones. But yeah, I'm hyped for this now. I think it's a good time for this to come out. It's gonna be really cool.
What we saw some of, but like a lot less of, was Iron Fist. Of course, Iron Fist is further out from being completed than Luke Cage is.
I bet you some of that footage was shot for the trailer.
Yeah, I bet you too.
You
didn't see much from this footage except you saw Danny Rand, I guess, how he came to be, Iron Fist.
They're early in filming that series. I think they've been filming for, a few weeks.
Yeah.
So there's just not much
not much to show there. To be honest, I wasn't as hyped for Iron Fist as I was, after watching Luke Cage. Iron Fist actually right now, it actually kind of looks like, eh. But
it's just because there's nothing to show.
Yeah, it's just because there's nothing to show, and even less to show of Defenders, to the point where there was literally nothing to show of Defenders. They just created a logo and said, "Here you go. This is the thing." Just to show people something, I guess.
I think it might have even been better to not show either of those and to instead just show maybe what Iron Fist's costume's gonna look like or something.
Yeah, maybe
not footage, just like a sketch, or like how they did when they first were talking about Daredevil before they showed me footage and they released the sketch. It was they're going with that. Was it the Frank Miller version with the black hood and everything? And that was really cool, and people were psyched about that. And it was just a piece of black and white art.
Right.
You know? Like, I think if they had gone that kind of direction with like Iron Fist instead of like actually showing footage, it probably would have had a better reaction because, you know, it's not that the show is going to be bad or anything. It's like they're literally just started filming.
Yeah,
they had a similar situation with, Spider-Man where they had like, I think they'd only been filming for a few days and they just filmed some high school stuff. They didn't have any action scenes, anything. So they just put together like a teaser based on like that. And some shots of like him fighting in Civil War.
Pretty much.
That was all they were able to show, and it's just because they don't have anything to show.
Well, to Marvel's credit, also Marvel didn't show that publicly, you know, to where that was just for Comic-Con attendees, you know, to where these were released.
Yeah.
To the internet, you know, for everybody. So,
well, like I said, I'm sure some of that Iron Fist footage was shot for the trailer.
Yeah.
Like they literally just said, we need to put together a trailer. We don't have the scenes we need, so we're just going to put together a few shots real quick just to kind of give the vibe or something.
For that stuff, it's nice though to have that stuff reconfirmed and to know that that stuff is still coming and that it's coming along, that there's movement. You know, that Iron Fist is now being filmed, so it's actually a thing. And the internet was retarded all along when they were saying, "Oh, Marvel doesn't know what to do with it. They might scrap it, herp de derp." No, actually, they knew exactly what they're doing. So stop it with stupid rumors.
So, the only other piece of information that really came out of this whole panel was they finally confirmed Daredevil Season 3 is going to be a thing.
Yep.
Who knows when? It's going to be a ways off because, you know, Jessica Jones is going to come through.
I think right now they want to get Defenders out before they put out any more seasons.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders. But then even before Daredevil, they're probably going to be putting out Jessica Jones Season 2, which is way further along than Daredevil Season 3 would be. And I'm sure they're probably going to put out Punisher before
definitely.
Daredevil Season 3 as well. So it's Daredevil Season 3 might be a ways down the line.
Yeah, it might be.
It's basically like they're basically saying like, oh, and he's you know, you thought Daredevil was gone? Not a chance.
Oh yeah. Lol.
So yeah, that was it. So that was our coverage of Comic-Con. So, yeah, we weren't there. We were just covering it from home. So, following up everything we could. If you want to get some more coverage of Comic-Con from us, I did put up 2 videos recently, talking about some of the news stories to come out of Comic-Con. So you can check those out on our front page on our website. I also created a repository for trailers, TV trailers from Comic-Con. So if you want to see some of these trailers, you're like, I've been hearing about this trailer or that trailer, but I just don't want to hunt them all down. Well, go to our front page, check the Comic-Con trailer repository, and there's a bunch of them right there sitting for you. So, you can check those out there. Until next time, Excelsior.
Excelsior. That's a perfect note to go out.